we are getting ready to jump in and talk about test taking tips and strategies for the selected response questions. Module 2 will have multiple choice items. Multiple choice is just a fancy word for selected response. So let's talk about some tips and strategies for multiple choice. Each question in the first section of the certification test is a selected response question with 4 answer choices. Read each question carefully and choose the one best answer. Try to answer all questions. Now let's talk about answering all questions. If you are not sure and you feel very unsure about that question, the testing company will provide you with paper. Make sure that you write that test number down, because when you go back and review, you want to make sure that you do not miss an item that you might have gotten right. You might miss it because you actually skip over it. You just were going back through your test review and you skipped over it. Write that item down. Once you've answered that, check it off so that you know you have answered every question. Even if you are unsure of an answer, it is better to guess than not answering the question at all, because you have a 50-50 chance. You will not be penalized for guessing. You will be penalized for not answering. Read the question first before you look at the possible answers. Typically, there are 2 choices that in no way are correct. Start with your process of elimination and then narrow it down to the 2 that you feel are correct. When selecting the best answer, consider these following things. Responses that include absolutes, and absolutes are like always, never. Those are absolutes. Look for words that say continuously or often or probable. Those are not absolutes. If you have an absolute in your answer, it is rarely the correct answer. Responses that use usually, continuously, just as I talked about, are more likely to be the best answer. Funny responses are not usually the answer. Now you're thinking, why would they put something funny in there? They're really just trying to help you out. So funny answers are not the right answer. All of the above is often a correct answer. If you can verify that more than one of the multiple choice items, A, B, C, or D, are correct, then all of the above is going to be correct. None of the above is usually an incorrect response, but this is not reliable. It's as reliable as all of the above. So be careful. Don't get trapped by double negatives. Now let me go back on all of the above. It would have an A, a B, and a C as a selected response, and D would be all of the above. So be very careful there. I don't think I said that right. I want to make sure that you understand that. But when you find A or C correct, and then D is all of the above, then chances of B being correct are very, very likely. Look for grammatical clues. This is important. If the stem of the question ends with indefinite article, an, like an apple, then you are more than likely the test answer is going to begin with a vowel. If it ends with an A, like a ball or a house, then that's not a clue for you. But an article an is very telling. The longest response sometimes is the correct one. Sometimes the test developers tend to load the answers with qualifying adjectives and phrases. So read, reread, pick out your adjectives, pick out your verbs. Look for verbal association. A response that repeats keywords in the stem is likely to be correct. If all else fails and you are guessing, choose responses B or C, as it is believed that the correct answer may be hidden better if it is surrounded by distractors. Response A is least likely to be the correct one. Take time to check your work. Remember what I talked about, that if you did not answer a question, make sure you put that question number on your paper, and that will give you a cue that you need to go back and answer that question. Let's talk a little bit more about some other strategies. Process of elimination. We talked a little bit about that, but eliminate the answers that you feel are incorrect first. Give each option the true-false test. Well, if it's asking this, would that be true or would that be false? That can often help you with getting the right answer. If two alternatives seem correct, and that's how this test is written, please understand that's how this test is written, compare them for the differences. Then refer to the STEM to help you select your best answer. Go back. What is the question actually asking me? Trust your feelings. 3 of the answers are wrong, and 1 of the answers is right. Make predictions. We teach kids how to make predictions all the times in our classrooms. Your mind is typically focused immediately after you have read the question and digested the contents. At this point, try to predict what you think the answer would be. Scan the answers to see if your prediction is correct. If it is, you can be confident that you have chosen the correct answer. Check the answers to be sure, but most of the time, trust yourself, you've got it. Remember that the response you select must answer the question. Go back to the question and ask yourself, exactly what is this question asking me? If you need to, on your scratch paper, write out your verbs and go back and say, what is this question asking me to do? Is it asking me to compare? Is it asking me to analyze? Is it asking me to apply? Those are verbs that you need to look for. So let's wrap up Module 2, and let's really get ready and buckle our seatbelts for Module 3, because I'm going to give you some very valuable tips and strategies for Module 3. But what I want to say to you about Module 2, as we are summarizing, is you've got this. Trust yourself. You're an expert. You have been trained in this field. And it's a licensure exam. So remember that to get a job, this is a licensure exam. So trust yourself. You've got this.